What has Iran scrambling its military forces? Why did the United States deploy a B-52 bomber near Iranian airspace? And what's the strategic aim behind this bold move? Just days ago, the U.S. military made a move that echoed across the global defense community. A B-52 Stratofortress took off, soaring over the Red Sea, and Iran immediately heightened its military alert. But this was no random exercise. This was a calculated display of power, wrapped in complex layers of military strategy, historical tension, and global stakes. Today we're diving deep into what this B-52 mission is really about, the message behind it, and what it signals in the broader context of U.S.-Iran relations. Let's start with the star of the show, the B-52 Stratofortress. Originally designed during the Cold War, this bomber has remained an enduring symbol of American military might for more than 70 years. Weighing in with a payload capacity of 70,000 pounds, it can carry both conventional and nuclear weapons, fly at 50,000 feet, and has an intercontinental range. But it's not just a tool of war. The B-52 serves as a political message in itself. Whenever it takes to the skies, it signals a formidable U.S. presence. So, why did the U.S. choose to send this particular aircraft on such a high-profile mission? The B-52's capabilities aren't limited to weapon delivery. Its very presence in the region is a calculated move, meant to project strength and reinforce deterrence. A bomber of this scale, publicly tracked as it moves near a country like Iran, sends a clear message that the U.S. is both watching and ready to defend its interests. Why the Red Sea? The Red Sea has long been a critical waterway. It borders the Arabian Peninsula and the Horn of Africa, two regions already pulsing with military and political tensions. Not only is it a vital artery for global trade, with access to the Suez Canal, but it's also a strategic launching point. In the context of U.S. military strategy, positioning a B-52 over the Red Sea offers access to the Middle East without crossing into Iranian airspace directly, avoiding immediate escalation, while still making a powerful statement. In recent months, regional intelligence reports have highlighted rising Iranian military activity, from drone deployments to increased naval exercises. This uptick in activity raised red flags in the U.S., which is keen to maintain a balance in a region where even minor escalations can have global economic repercussions. This mission, however, is just the latest episode in a decades-long standoff between the U.S. and Iran. Since the 1979 Iranian Revolution, when Iran transformed from a U.S. ally into an ideological and political rival, both countries have been locked in a cycle of competition and conflict. But it's not just about military posturing, it's a complex web of regional influence, nuclear ambitions, and proxy battles across the Middle East. From the Iran-Iraq War to the 2020 assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, every chapter in U.S.-Iran relations has brought us closer to this moment. In the last few years, Iran has expanded its influence in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, often through proxy forces. This growing regional footprint, paired with Iran's advancement in its nuclear program, remains a point of serious concern for the United States. In Washington's view, Tehran's activities have shifted from defensive posturing to more assertive regional ambition. So, why did the United States choose to send this bomber right now? There's a psychological and symbolic dimension to this maneuver. The B-52 in the region serves a dual purpose. On one hand, it's a show of deterrence, and on the other, a visible signal to U.S. allies, reassuring them of American support. For Iran, the B-52's presence in the Red Sea might be perceived as the United States saying, "We're here, we're ready, and we're watching." And by tracking this flight publicly, the United States allowed the world, and Iran specifically, to see exactly where its bomber was. The bomber wasn't a covert, low-altitude operation, but rather a high-profile demonstration of strength and readiness. The timing, too, speaks volumes. It comes as the United States navigates multiple fronts, from supporting Ukraine against Russia to balancing rising tensions in the Indo-Pacific with China. This mission underlines the United States' message to its adversaries that it can and will protect its interests globally, even while managing multiple geopolitical challenges. In response, Iran didn't sit idle. As the B-52 roared over the Red Sea, Iran's defense systems were put on high alert. Its air defense forces reportedly activated missile batteries and radar systems, while its navy increased patrols along its own maritime borders. Iranian officials were quick to issue statements condemning what they saw as U.S. provocation, while signaling that any aggression would be met with force. But behind these public reactions lies a deeper concern for Iran. For them, a high-profile flight like this is an intimidating reminder of U.S. air superiority and the resources Iran would face in a direct conflict. It underscores the power imbalance between the two nations, an imbalance that Iranian leaders are keenly aware of, even as they push to expand their military and regional influence. The stakes of this showdown are far-reaching. For one, the Red Sea is vital for the global economy, serving as a key shipping route for oil and trade goods. Even a small military conflict in this region could disrupt global oil prices and lead to ripple effects across international markets. Additionally, there's the involvement of U.S. allies like Saudi Arabia and Israel. Both nations have vested interests in limiting Iran's influence and keeping U.S. forces engaged in the Middle East. The B-52 mission also serves as a reassurance to these allies that the U.S. is committed to deterring Iran's regional ambitions. Yet, there's also the risk that these allies, emboldened by American support, might take more assertive actions of their own, potentially escalating tensions further. And then, there's the broader geopolitical picture. The U.S.'s B-52 deployment is likely being watched closely by other global powers, including Russia and China, both of whom have strategic interests in the Middle East. Any escalation in this region could lead to a more complicated global alignment, with these nations possibly increasing their own presence or influence in the Middle East. The real question: what's next? As we consider the next steps, it's worth asking, where does this go from here? The U.S. B-52 mission is a reminder that the U.S. will continue to assert its power in the Middle East, even as it faces other global challenges. But it also raises questions about the future of U.S.-Iran relations. Will this show of strength push Iran toward de-escalation, or will it provoke Iran to expand its military efforts and perhaps bring in its allies, thereby raising the stakes even further? This bomber's flight over the Red Sea may be a moment in time, but it's also a part of a long-running narrative. A narrative of rivalry, regional strategy, and global power. What's your take on the situation? Is the U.S. B-52 mission a necessary step in maintaining security, or is it an escalation that risks inflaming regional tensions? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into this complex, high-stakes situation.